Hello everybody, C3 here again. I'm going to be doing something computery today in the absolute mess that is this area. It's gotten better since a while ago, but you know, it's still a mess. Anyway, what the computer I'm going to be doing some things with today is going to be that one right there. This boy right here. The plastic's a bit yellowed. I'm not going to be able to fix that today, but I know for a fact that I can get it all taken apart, cleaned out, make sure it all works perfectly fine, maybe do a couple upgrades. Just some general fit and finish types of things, and yeah. I figure we'll do a bunch of these videos because I tend to do a lot of collecting and not a lot of taking care of what I collect. This is going to be one of the steps to try and change that. So let me just get it down. I'm going to put it over near my Apple monitor, and we're going to see what kind of things this already has on it. Alright, so here we are. Didn't tell you the model because I didn't see it. It's an HP Pavilion XG836. I got everything, well, I don't have everything plugged in. I have the monitor and the power plugged in. I just need to see what operating system this has, and then I'll be able to start doing the restoration on it. It's got some 30 gig Seagate U series in there. It is a bit of a cheap hard drive, so I'm not sure if I want to replace that or not. And we have an operating system not found. So that either means we've got actually no operating system, or maybe the BIOS battery just died. Yeah, we got operating system not found. So you know what? We're just going to get right into the actual disassembly of this thing. Let me change locations. Alright, so here we are. This might not be the greatest thing in the universe, considering I have to disassemble this one-handed, and that's quite hard. So I'm just going to be as careful as possible here. You can see I got my TRS-80 Coco there. I was going to do a video on that, but I couldn't really get a video that was pleasing. This does need some paint restoration, so maybe I'll have to follow, what is his name? 8-bit computer, or whatever the fuck his name is, to see if I can actually get this thing looking nice. Now this computer disassembles really strangely. There's no side panel. I just took off one of the screws here, so you'd think I'd be able to slide this off, but no, that's not the case. So you need to take off this screw up here. Alright, and I think this screw down here as well. And I think that should do it. Yeah, alright, it did. It did do it. Alright, so here we go. The clamshell's coming off. Sorry for the wonky camera. And there we go. The clamshell's now off. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get this plastic top off eventually, but for now maybe we'll just do a little bit of cleanup on the insides here. Everything looks pretty okay in here. Just a little bit of dust bunnies that could use some cleaning off. Now, on the internals. Oh, that's why the operating system wasn't found. I didn't plug the IDE cable back in when I last used it. It's not important, really. I don't know why I just plugged that back in, considering we're taking this apart. Here's our power supply. It's a Best Tech Power Electronics Corporation. ATX 100-500 watt, as you might be able to guess. A lot of this is pretty dusty. You can see some of the dust on the board down there. But we're going to start removing the power supply here. So this isn't, I'm pretty sure this is non-standard stuff here, so nothing in this is at all standard. Yeah, thanks for reiterating yourself, self. Yeah, anyway. 3 screws. One here, and then one up top, and this should come out. Removing the motherboard's an entirely different story. It's quite difficult. I've done this before. I don't think I've recorded a video on it, but I did want to take it apart to get some of the dust out, I think, beforehand. It wasn't very fun, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so now, just pushing the power supply out. There it is. Did come out fairly nicely. It's clearly got some guide rails in there, which makes this a little bit hard, but there you are. There's our Best Tech Power Corporation Dusty as Hell power supply. We're going to be getting that open and giving it a nice clean. So, let's start getting all the power items disconnected. We got the... Oh, and the board powder's buried in there, because of course it is. Yeah, this is quite a dusty system. It's going to need some fairly extensive cleaning, which is why I'm taking this all apart. Gotta remember how to put it back together, though. I'm going to see if I can get the power item disconnected without removing the board. And if I can, I'll get back with you. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about how to remove the board. Okay, there's literally no way I can get to the power without removing the board. So, we're going to be talking about how to remove the board. So to remove this, there's 1, 2, and I think that's it, screws. And I'll show you, it's a bit of a pain. Okay, so now, the motherboard is affixed to a tray, sort of like more, oh, never mind. It's not just those 2 screws. There's this screw, and this screw that you have to remove as well. Forgot about that. Alright, so we got all the screws for the motherboard tray out now. There goes our power supply. Now, with enough force, this should pop out, sort of. I think the last time I did this, I had to use a screwdriver to sort of wedge it out, because it's a lot of metal on a lot of metal, and it's quite hard to get out. So, maybe I can use this screwdriver. Let me get my flathead. I'll try and wedge it out. Actually, I think I remember the way you're supposed to do this. You're not really supposed to slide it back as much as you are pull this part out and then slide it back. It's really quite strange. And hard to work with, but yeah, as you can see there, a little bit of wiggling, and now she's pretty much free. So I will have to disconnect the power, which I might be able to do right now. Okay, there goes the power. Disconnect the CD audio cable. Disconnect that, whatever that is. And all of our other cables, and our motherboard is going to be completely out. Come on, there we are. Hopefully I'm not ESDing myself up here. I don't really ever wear an anti-static wrist strap because I'm naughty, but there we are. Motherboard's out. Panel con as well, that's another thing I gotta remove. There we are. Everything should be out now, and the motherboard comes away nicely. This has got a lot of cleaning that it needs. A lot of cleaning. Let's get this BIOS battery removed, and we'll start letting that drain power from itself. We're definitely going to need to wash the motherboard and the tray, so I'll have to get those off. But anyway, let's start disassembling the rest of the system. I think our power supply should be free now. So let me rotate the system back around, get all our screws out of our way. Get that power supply out. There it is. Best Tech power supply. Now we can start removing the peripheral devices. And there's not many of those. So for the hard drive, got a screw down there, screw up there, and it should just slide right up and out. I may upgrade this hard drive. I know for a fact that you can pretty much only have one due to the way the system's designed. Ooh, jeez. But, you know, I do like to keep original configurations and stuff. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure this Seagate U series is a 4,500 RPM drive. It's only 30 gig. I can get a 40 gig at 7,200 RPM, which would be just a massive performance improvement for this thing, even with its Celeron. But yeah, here comes our hard drive. There it is. Seagate U5 30 gig. Seems to be an ST330621A. And that seems to be about all that's interesting on that. So, just a little cleanup required on the top there. Maybe some of the frame could require some cleanup as well. Yeah, there's a little bit on the bottom there. So we'll get that disconnected and we'll clean those puppies up later. Okay, there's screws on both sides of these things. So I think, let me see if there's a way to get the front panel off. There is, I can see clips. We're going to get the front panel off pretty promptly here. There's clips on top and bottom. So, it should start to come off. Ow. I'll need both hands for this. Alright, so the front panel's off, but I made a little oopsie. Don't know if you can see that because the camera's not going to autofocus. Yeah, you can see that plastic bit broke off. But, you know, nothing that some super glue won't fix, hopefully. The other one looks like it's about to come off as well because of me, but should be alright. All the others look to be still on there, so this will just need some general cleanup. Maybe a wipe down, probably some scrubbing with a toothbrush and some of the front areas. A little bit of dirt and stuff on the bottom. But it's in generally pretty good condition, so we'll just have to super glue that piece back on, and it should be pretty alright. There's our front plate for the model number, but what I'd like to do right now is get the floppy drive straight out. Sorry about the focus here, guys. The autofocus on my phone has not been great lately. It has active autofocus, so I don't know why the hell it's having so much trouble. I can really only blame the app here. If you were wondering, the app that I use to record is called Open Camera. Alright, so got that side done. Now we're just going to flip it right over. It's pretty light at this point. I've got all the cables out of the way. Alright, so there we go. All the screws are removed. Now these should just come right out. And they do. So just got to feed the cables through as well because I didn't bother to remove them. Alright. So here's our floppy drive, a little bit dirty on the top. Samsung SFD321B. Very nice. Now, CD-ROM. I'll remove the cables out of this one. Just gotta get that CD audio cable out. I hate these things. There we are, finally. Alright, and the audio cable. There it is. Oh, squeaky. Ooh, this is in pretty rough shape. Definitely gonna have to do some vinegar on the top there. Looks alright otherwise. This is a light-on CD-ROM drive, it seems. I don't know. Just a CD-ROM. I might have to just straight up replace the CD drive with something better. I don't know what I have, but we'll find out. Anyway. Don't see any rust on the top. I don't think that's rust. That's just dust. I don't see anything over there either. So what it appears is that CD-ROM drive is just not able to stand up to the test of time the way the case has. Which is quite alright, really, you know. These things happen. CD-ROM drives are pretty bad anyway. They tend to fail all the time. So, come on, can I get this floppy drive cable out with one hand? There we are. Get the cable out of the floppy drive as well, so all my cables are in a pile. Alright, turn our attention to the board here. I'm going to take the RAM out. What do we got for RAM? We got... Can't even tell what that is. Unbranded, really. Hynix chips, though. So, Hynix chips on some unbranded RAM. Yeah, it's the same stick there. So, I have no clue how many megabytes this is. It doesn't say. So, maybe 256 at best. But, anyway. I'm going to get this off now. This is pretty dangerous. You do have to get a screwdriver down in there, push down, and then pry upwards quite carefully. Just wiggle it, and then that comes off. Alright, so here's our CPU, which I'll take right out. This is an Intel Celeron. It is a Celeron 733 megahertz. Sorry about the focus. 66 megahertz front side bus, maybe. I don't really know the lingo for these Intel CPUs, but if I wipe off XG836, so there's that. We'll set the heatsink aside. That'll need some washing. Clip these together. Alrighty, now get these cards out. I don't think this board has built-in Ethernet, so there's an Ethernet add-in card. There's 4 slots. It looks like this one would be for one of those weird sound ports. I can't remember what they're called. I'll have to look them up, and I don't know if that's actually what that is or not, but it's way too small to be an AGP. Looking elsewhere on the board, we've got some pads for possibly cache. This is 16 MB, 512K, 6x2 on the silk screen there. So maybe those were cache, external cache. Don't know. What else we got? Yeah, there's not a lot of onboard stuff here, so I'm not really super sure what we got. We got what looks like CPU jumper options, but none of the jumpers are actually populated. So I'll turn around the board after I get these cards out, and we'll check that out. So just put my knee down there. Come on, buddy. It's not that hard. There we are. There's our modem card. This isn't needed, but I'll wash it off and put it back in anyway because, you know, might as well just leave it at the original configuration. It's not like I'm going to use this for much anyway, so don't really need that 3rd slot for anything. Now we'll get the network adapter out. Hopefully I'm not ESDing this thing to hell. So here we are. It's a Netgear FA331, definitely an add-in card. Added on at some later date. But yeah, there's that. Let's flip this around. Take a look at the stuff on the board here. Oh, okay. So this is just this little silk screen here. Alright, so you can see that that's the BIOS clear jumper, it seems. There's a lot of other what would be jumpers there, but none of them seem to be populated. I'm not sure what those would have been used for. There's another header over here that isn't populated either. It's only got those 3 in it, so I'm not sure what that's about. This one's clearly front panel. But yeah, that's about it. There's another fan header over here that goes unused. But yeah, interesting little thing, yeah? Okay. I'm going to get this off the plate so we can wash them individually. Again, I'm really sorry about this focus. This app seems to be like really bad with focusing in video. Like, this is incredible. It focuses and then it unfocuses for, like, no reason. I might have to contact the developers about that. But anyway, I'll just get the board off of this. It's not going to be too exciting to get the board off, so I'll just skip to it. Alright, so we got the dusty motherboard off the dusty tray. And now we're ready to move on to the power supply. So I'm just going to put it back on the tray loosely for the moment, so I can take apart the power supply. Now, for those of you who are starting to type into the comments, why would you take apart a power supply? Well, I washed them. Now, before you start typing in the comments, you wash them? Yeah, I just put them in the sink and I drench them in water, and it gets the dust right off. Before you start typing in the comments, are you serious? Are you not breaking things by doing that? Well, no, I'm not. So if all of the power is drained out of your electronics component, all of it, your water's not excessively mineralized, and you let it dry out nicely after the fact, water has basically no effect on anything. So, yeah, it's usually perfectly safe to do these kinds of things. But, you know, since I had the computer on recently, what I will be doing is flipping the board out and discharging the caps before I throw it in there, because if I don't, I might get a nice big arc, and I don't want that. And it'd probably break the power supply, and finding a replacement for one of these in this day and age is probably going to be the biggest hassle ever. So, now I just got to figure out how to get this lid off, and I'll skip right to that, actually. So it came off about how I'd imagined, but the only thing is I have to take the fan out as well, in order to actually get it to come out, because the little cable isn't long enough to actually take the lid off with the fan in. So we'll take out those screws, and as well, since I have the lid off, be able to check if there's any bulging caps in here, which there very well could be. Apparently this is a separate plate as well, so that's convenient. Alright, there it is. Got the plate off. Now the lid comes right off as well. Have to clean those nice and separately. Just drop the fan out of the way and just give it a little browse through this. It's a little hard to see with all the dust in here. But from the looks of things, there's no bulging caps. Yeah, no, I don't think there's any bulging caps in this. Just a lot of Celastic. Even this one right here that's under these cables, I don't think is bulging. That one may be bulging, though. Oh yeah, that's definitely bulged. I know you can't see it because of the shitty autofocus here, but that cap down there is definitely bulging. Now, these two filter caps are pretty small, actually, so I don't think... Maybe I'll get lucky. Or, you know what I could do? I could short one of the... I could short all of the voltage pins to ground on this. I do have a paperclip around there somewhere, so... Yeah, we'll just, Well, you know, we don't have a ground path, actually, so that's not going to be too helpful. But, yeah, no, maybe when I get some of the dust cleaned out of this, we'll be able to see in better detail whether or not there's actually bulging caps in this. I'm pretty sure that one down there is bulging. Oh, no, it's not that one, it's that one, I'm sorry. And these heat sinks are pretty minimal as well, so, Yeah, we'll start getting things cleaned out, really. Okay, so brief intermission after having washed that first batch. This is not dirty enough to wash. There's a little bit of dust on the back, but nothing major. This is going to get washed. I'm going to take the rubber off of this and wash the rubber. This is going to get washed. These cables over here are going to get washed. The case is going to get washed, and the front panel is going to get washed. The drives over there are just going to get a bit of a wipe down. We're going to investigate this drive, see if I want to just replace it, and if it's worth salvaging, in fact, because, you know, shitty CD drives appear all the time. Maybe we'll have to get into the internals of that and clean it up a little bit. But yeah, so I think probably our next batch is going to be everything that can fit in the front panel here. Alright, and I'll just get the rubber off of that and then we'll be good. Look at how different this drive is with its rubber off. It's crazy. Okay, so there we go. Now all I need to do is wipe these guys down, which I'll just do with my sleeve. It's pretty good in... oh, never mind. It's not that good in there. This thing... ooh, look at the bottom. Yikes. Well... you know, everything's up and drying in the room now, in my room now, so we'll have to let that dry out for a couple of days. It's going to be a couple seconds for you, if I ever upload this. But, yeah, we'll decide about the CD drive then, and the hard drive. So, till then. Okay, so it's not actually been the couple of days that I said it would be. I'm just noticing some extra dust now that I've sat down here. But I have the case all dried out and back down here now. So I figured what I'll do, since I can really, I figure what I will do is get a fan that would roughly fit this and see if I can get it in there somehow. It looks... oh, you know what? The one thing I'm going to need to get... I left the rubber for the hard drive in there, but that looks like it cleaned up pretty well. The one thing I'll need to do is I'll need to go get the hard drive sled, just to make sure that it still fits in there. Well, anything will fit in there, really. Might have to be pretty small. Alright, so I got the clean drive sled thing here, too. Now... okay, yeah, that sits pretty flush against there, so, looks like I'm probably not going to be putting a fan there, unless I can figure out something. Maybe, no, I don't even think I could get it in that. Well, let me get the rubber on the hard drive back on, maybe put the hard drive back on the sled. Okay, so I got the hard drive in there. Just about the only space that there's going to be a fan is going to be right below it there. And I somehow don't think I'm going to be able to find a fan in my arsenal that's small enough to fit in there, but, you know, I'll look around anyway, see what I can find. Okay, so this is about the smallest fan I had lying around. It's quite dusty, don't worry about it. Now, that's the area I have to work with, okay? So, put the fan in there like that, and that's about the best angle we're going to get. Now, since I'm pretty sure the airflow is pretty restricted coming through here, there's going to be, like, no airflow coming through that. So, unless I wanted to get, like, one of, like, I don't know, the 10mm screamers or whatever, like I have in some of the really old computers, like the Pentium era computers, or maybe the ones from the 10 megabit switches I have lying around. But, you know, it's just not worth it. The noise is going to be insane. The airflow is going to be nil. And there's just not enough room. So, no new fans, it seems, unless I can, I don't know, devise some sort of better hard drive mounting solution. Maybe put it on the bottom. That might be smart. It would give me a lot of fan space if I could do that, but, you know, probably not. Alright, so here's the power supply after a day. I've cut away some of the factory zip ties, and you may be able to definitely see that this cap right here is definitely bulged. If you take a look at the other one in the left-hand side there, you see how flat that top is. Compare it to the one right in front of you. It's quite bulgy. This one down here, that one right there, looks to be much the same way, but it's got a little elastic on the top, so let's see if we can't get rid of that. Yeah, I think that's pretty bulged as well. Might be a little hard to tell, but I think it's pretty bulged. So I'm going to see what the rating on these caps is. We'll see about replacing them. Alright, so here's the plan. I've got it all back together. I got the fan in, except for, you know, the lid. I'm going to plug the CD drive in. And then I will take the paper clip out of there. That was just to test to make sure it fits. Let's see if I can get this. Come on. There, I think that's in there. So we're going to take that out. I'll plug the power cord in, and if it explodes, then I'll freak out. Like, I will... Oh my god, I will jump. So let's just go ahead. Let's make sure we're still on 115. We are, so... No explosion there. But I do need to, like, hold this back a little bit, so... Hey, she came right on. Huh. That's a little strange. Don't know if you saw that or not, but the fan just came right on. Don't really want to touch the case itself right now. I'm still a little apprehensive about that. Not sure why exactly the power supply came on as soon as I plugged it in. That's pretty abnormal. Yeah, I might have to investigate that a little bit. Let me get my volts DC meter out. Alright, so we got some residual. Because of course we do. But let's go ahead and plug it in again. So it shouldn't come right on, but 11.4 is... it's pretty low, honestly. But it's in spec. Can you not, please? So let me switch. Alright, so we got 5.1. I'll call that good. So, I don't think it's supposed to come on like that. Don't know what's up there. But, yeah, good either way. Okay, it's only actually been a day. I have it all back together. I'm taking a fairly large risk after blowing this thing out pretty thoroughly with the thing to try and get it to turn on in this state. Dunno. Could be bad. Hopefully the power supply is good enough to take a load. So let's go ahead and plug it in. It should just power right up because of the power supply. Yeah, there it is. Jeez, I need to oil that. So besides needing to oil that, it looks like it comes right up. I somehow wired the power supply to be always on though, so that's going to be a problem. But she works. Okay, so we got the lid put back on and the fan put in. Now you may have noticed that only that light's on right now, and that's because I didn't manage to wire the power supply to be always on. This fan does not have access to the bearings, unfortunately. But the bearings start to clear up after it gets warmed up a little bit, so maybe that'll clear off. We seem to be on 60, I don't know what one that is. But it might just be waiting for a boot device. I don't hear any beeps, so, you know, I only kind of assume we're doing good things here. Yeah, see, that doesn't sound too great. But yeah. Oh, we went over to 90 now. There, we got a beep. That's good, means it's working. Maybe we'll leave it for a little bit, let that fan do its thing. Or we'll just power it off. Oop, came right back on. I'm not sure what we can do about that fan. Maybe I can swap it out for something else. I'll have to see. Alright, so I have the solution to the shitty fan right here. This is from a much older, well, it's pretty similar, about the same age I would assume. Compact. That one was in much worse shape than this one was, so I decided to, well, I tried to clean it out. I was going to sell the parts in it, maybe make a few bucks off of it, but it seemed not to survive the toothbrushing that I had to give it in order to get all the sticky dust off. You know, that makes sense. It's going to be a very ESD-filled thing that a toothbrush would do to it, but in the end, that motherboard was in pretty bad shape. It had a lot of bulging caps near the CPU. The front panel was about as yellow as a, I don't know, something yellow, school bus. And yeah. Oops. So I'm just gonna get this on here. So I got the new fan on, time to see how it sounds. That's better. I don't know if this one has exposed bearings. I'll have to check that. I think those bearings are oil free. But yeah, let me check if that has exposed bearings or not. Okay, so this one does have exposed bearings, so I'm going to drop a little bit of oil in there and see if we can improve that sound any. This looks a lot dustier and grungier under the camera, but, you know, it's probably as close to as good as it's ever going to get. Alright, so that's back on. Let's try it out. That's a little better. Alrighty. I was thinking about, on the case over there, moving the hard drive up to the floppy drive bay, and moving the floppy drive up to that other one, but that would mean I have to get rid of my XG836 branding, which I'm not going to do. So, yeah. Oh well. Okay, so I'm upstairs. We're going to do just a couple things before we get the system put back together proper. I watch a YouTuber, and he sort of more or less recommended that for cleaning plastics and stuff, getting scuffs out like this, that you use some baking soda and a wet paper towel, just kind of scrub it off. Now, I hope I'm actually getting the right product here, otherwise I'm going to make a fool out of myself, but yeah, we got all the important items here. We got coffee, which is obviously required, baking soda, and the wet paper towel. And before you ask, yes, I do drink my coffee completely black. That's how God intended it, okay? So, let's just put a little bit up here. May have to crush that up a little bit, but so yeah, I'll just do that, see how it comes out. Alright, so there's that all cleaned up. That stuff is pretty abrasive and does take some of the plastic off. I don't know if you can see right in this area, some of the light yellowing that's was originally there is now no longer there. That's not how I'm going to remove the yellowing on this top piece. But yeah, I guess that's one way to do it if you're pretty dedicated. I think the rest of this looks pretty okay. There's a little spot back here I might get at. But, at least for this part, all that's really needed is some toothbrushing in all of the holes. Probably get a good washing in this thing. Yeah, I definitely need that. Jeez. And maybe work out some of the scuffs up here and then we'll be good. Okay, so I've gotten this front panel about as clean as I'm willing to get it. I need to wash this a little better. The only major places where I can see scuffs and scrapes, there's a little spot right there, but mostly along this bottom piece, sort of to the sides as well. But, you know, it's not something I'm terribly worried about fixing, because, you know, you're not really going to see that part too much. You're mostly going to be seeing the top and the sides, both of which are in pretty pristine condition. So, yeah, I think I'm going to give it a little bit better of a wash to get all the baking soda off there, and then, yeah, we can actually get to reassembling this thing properly. Alright, here we are. The case and stuff is still drying upstairs, but I'm just going to leave that up there for now. I'm also going to leave this on for a little while, expect a beep in a minute. I want to get that fan to circulate the oil through itself. It sounds reasonably better, not as dry. It's doing that little, the little pinging thing where it spits the oil all around its bearings, but that seems to be going away slowly. So yeah, we'll just let that warm up, do its thing. And I've also decided that this light-on CD drive is going in the trash. What it's going to be replaced with is this. It's another light-on CD drive. It's pretty similar. This one's got play, pause, and stop and eject, as well as headphones and the speakers, sort of like the other one did. The only difference with that one is it didn't have the play-pause button. So yeah, that's the one we're going to be using. This is a more multimedia-oriented drive. It's in a lot better condition. I hope it works. But yeah, so we're basically just going to start getting this thing reassembled while this sits here. So, let me just get that all out of the way. Get this heatsink out of the way as well. We don't need that. I'll just pull the case right over. Alright, so we got the hard drive put back in, but I'm going to switch that out. At least, you know, temporarily, so we can have a play around with some things. Now, let's start with the CD drive. Just put that right in. Just whack it in. Line up the holes. Ta-da! Alright, now I'm going to get the XG836 branding I took off here. We'll plop that back in as well. Front of it looks pretty nice, so that's good. Alright, so gotta get those clips in there, but it just kind of goes in like this. And yeah, it just snaps in there like that. There it is. Lines right up with the front. I'll put the other plastic piece back on as well. There it is. Alrighty, now for our floppy drive. I'll have to test this floppy drive out, but I'm going to still use the same floppy drive. Still got some dust in it, but it should be alright. We'll have to probably see where those lined up. I don't know if we can really tell. I think I want to say right there is where no, that's too far. It was probably the last hole. Ooh, come on. So right like that. But we'll have to get the front panel out to make sure that's the case. Let me just turn this off. Okay, so we're back with the dried off top and front panel. And here's our new hard drive that we're probably going to use. This one is a Western Digital 400 EB. It's a 40 gig hard drive. Very nice hard drive. 10 more gigs than the original, but that's no problem. I'm just going to mark this one as being the original drive. We definitely have a little bit of rubber issues now, though. But, you know, it's mostly inside the computer, so that doesn't really matter all that much. So I'm going to take the bracket off and put the new hard drive in. And then we'll really start getting things put back in. Alright, so here's the new hard drive put in. We're going to get it in there. Thankfully it's really easy on this computer. Now I'm just going to screw it in. Alright, so I put our two expansion cards back in. The hard drive's been secured with its two screws. Now we're going to do the power supply. This guy, gotta get those cables in there first. Wish I could do this a bit cleaner. Come on. Get in there. Maybe I have to put it in through the other way, actually. It's a bit hard to tell, especially because the cables won't cooperate. Oh my word. I was a fool trying to put it in the wrong way. So now, just gotta get it in there. There we go. It's in there. And is it in there the right way, actually? I don't think yeah, I think that's upside down. Let's try that again. We're not going to get any airflow if we put it in that way. There we go. That seems more correct. Alright, so that's in there now. Just need 3 screws. Alright. So, just got to get it screwed in. And 3. There we go, power supply's in. Nice and secure. Now, screw in our drives. Okay, so I'll get these screwed in, and then we can move on to the main attraction. Alright, got all the screws and stuff in. Now comes the fairly hard part. What I want to do is I want to get everything plugged back in before I, well, which way does this go? I want to get everything plugged back in before I start to put the motherboard back in. Now this is going to be, oh okay, it is keyed, good. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge due to short cables and whatnot, but I need to find the CD audio cable. Here's our CD audio cable. We're going to plug that in. And get that up in our CD drive. I don't actually know if either of these drives are jumpered correctly. And I don't really know if there's a way for me to check either. So, we may be shooting in the dark here and hoping to hit our mark. So, here's the hard drive cable. Which one of these is controller 1? Okay. So here's controller 1. There it is. We'll get that plugged into the hard drive later. Here's our floppy cable. Of course, the non-twist side goes into the board. Alright, there that is. And then here is our CD cable. This is a 40-wire cable because you want the higher cable amount for your hard drives. Alrighty, so we'll plug that into the CD drive after. Now all we have left to plug back in should be this and the fan connector, which will definitely require 2 hands, but maybe I can prop it up like that or something. This may not be the best view in the whole wide world, but it's gonna have to do. Oh, before I even do that, I almost forgot, I gotta get one of these. Okay, so here we are. Cheapo CR2032 batteries, TNQ branded. Probably alright. They won't last as long as better quality ones, but they only cost $15 for a 100 pack. So, you know, just push that down in there like that, and it's good to go. Now, I'll put you down again. We'll see if we can get that motherboard up in there. There, that should be alright. So, go ahead and get that plugged in. Let's see if we can get that fan connector as well. Yeah, here it is. We'll just get that plugged in up in there. Alright, now this is really the tough part. I gotta make sure all the cables are actually in place so I can plug them in after. And then I gotta kinda put it in just opposite the way it came out, you know. So let's get all the cables in there. And we'll just try and get it in. It's hard to really tell what's lined up and what's not, but I think, yeah, that needs to go in like that. And we just kind of see if we can get that in there. Ha-ha! There we go, that wasn't too painful. Alright, now bring the screws over. This is going to polish off our screws mostly, so get the 1, 2, and we'll turn it over to the side. It's just a little finicky. And then the 3, and 4. Alright, so there we go. There's the motherboard reinstalled. Now we will put this back on. I don't think any side is meant to go on first here. We'll just snap that all into place. And there we go. Looks like I'm going to need to shove the floppy drive forward one. So I'll do that. I'm going to shut off the camera for it though. Okay, so getting around here may be a little bit hard with the camera, but we'll start with the easiest one, which should be our floppy drive. I assume the cable has itself oriented the correct way to begin with, which it seems to. So, actually the easiest one here would have been the hard drive, but whatever. It's just a matter of getting the hand down in there. Also, the light while recording does help, so I'm not gonna complain too much about it. See, the biggest problem here is I can't see over my hand. There we go. Finally got it. There we go. That's in. Now we'll do the hard drive, which is even easier. He says failing to get the cable in. There it is. Oops. Alright, now for the hardest one. This is going to definitely require a little bit of cable routing here. There's our tip. Alright, so we're going to route this under there. I know you can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm trying. Oh man, this is tough. This CD audio cable is really not helping. Can you just get out of the way? There, that's a little better. Alright, so we'll just shove that under there. We're hitting the heat snack a little bit, so we'll be alright there, but definitely not totally ideal. Have to move the cable out of the way after, but there it is. Now, just for now, I'm going to unplug the power from the CD drive so I can actually get in there. This is quite hard to do with one hand, let me tell you. There we go, it's in. If I have to change the jumpers on this, I'm going to be royally screwed. But counting on it not to have to change the jumpers. Alrighty, I'll just get that power cable back in there. Alright, there we go. All the power and data cables are now installed. Cable organization's not great, but never is. At least when I do it. And if we look down in there, yep, nothing obstructing the fan there, so good. Alright, I think we're good to put the case back on. I was contemplating getting a graphics card for this, but I think we'll leave that out for now. So let's just put the case back on. This is going to be a camera off operation, actually. Alright, so it's over here in Crowded Computer Corner. Now all I need to do is plug the power in. Got keyboard, mouse, and video, right? Yeah, we had the video plugged in beforehand, totally. Alright, so now all we have to do, including network, is plug the power in. Alright, so the power's in. Do I have a plugged in cable? Alright, here's the actual power cable. Came right on. And so did the screen. So we're going to put in our Debian Net install CD. and see if she works. Got HP and vent. Dun dun. We're going to turn off the light. There we are. We'll of course go into the BIOS. It'll take a while on its first boot with a new battery. We'll have to set the date and time. Pretty sure it's March 30th. Alright, there it is. So it sees the CD-ROM drive. I don't see the hard drive. Alright, so going to setup. Yep, no hard drive. So we'll definitely have to change the jumpers on that. There's something on the top out jumper, so this is going to be shot in the dark every time. It's got 512 mega memory. It's pretty good. Alright, so 733 megahertz Celeron. We'll enable the processor serial number, doesn't matter. We'll leave it on that. I'm not going to reset the configuration data. Don't have AGP on this, don't know why that's an option. Alright, let's just set the date and time. So it is 2:58 p.m. So 2:58 and around 20 seconds. So now let's go to the date. It is 4/31. What the? Okay, this must be the month, I guess. And then this is 31. Really, dude? 04. 30? Okay, And then let's try and do 31 again. Okay, I don't know why I can't do 31. I mean, if I come over here, it's definitely March 31st. Don't know what this stupid computer's on about. I guess we'll just do 30 for now, it doesn't really matter. It'll set network time when it gets to there. So, we'll exit saving changes. Actually, we'll just save changes. We'll exit saving changes and I'll see if I can get the hard drive to work. Alright, so it was the first jumper change that I made that got it to work. So, and it booted right up to the graphical installer just the installer for Debian. So, I'm going to install this and I'll get back with you when it gets done. It's going to take a really long time. We may need that external GPU after all because I got to this screen here. Undefined video mode number 314. That usually means there's something bad going on. We'll try A. See if we can get that 132 by 60. Uh-oh. We having problems? Okay, looks like it's gonna work. Alright, so here it is. We're done installing. It's gonna eject the CD-ROM. I'm not gonna go get it though. I'm going to change the boot order so it doesn't boot off the CD. Actually, I don't think that matters. Can I boot off the first hard drive? That would be a no. Okay. Now, gonna go over to boot and shove the hard drive above the CD-ROM drive and exit saving changes. Maybe we'll get to see what it's doing during boot up if I press tab. That would be a no. Just get that good old HP and vent logo. Wow, that's pretty bad. Alright. Oh boy. Unfortunately, the most you can really hear here is the hard drive whirring as opposed to the heads. I could fix that, but, you know, a little late now. don't know how it's gonna work with the display here. Ooh, I'm thinking it's not going to work. Let's see if it'll fix. Okay, so who cares about frickin' Linux when we have Windows XP? Now I just need to change the CD-ROM drive to be back and front, and I'm just gonna install that. We've also got Office XP disk here that we're going to install after. Okay, so we got Windows XP installed, and got a graphics driver installed as well. This is apparently an Intel 82810 graphics chip in here, so now what I'm going to do, while I get the unofficial Service Pack 4 copied off the other laptop, I'm going to put this in the correct place, actually, but I'm going to get the CD out of here. Just going to make sure I'm getting disc 1. Don't actually know which one of these is disc 1, but a little scratched up too. I'm betting the other disc is disc 1, judging by its use. So we'll go ahead. Alright, that cleaned up nice. Alright. And get that going. Just leave that up there for now. Okay, so it auto ran, because of course it did. Wants me to put my initials and CD key in there. I'm going to enter that. That'll be no problem. Alright, so it took that key right away. It'll be interesting to see how this goes, because this is the first time I've ever installed Windows XP, Office for XP, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we'll look at what we get out of it. Okay, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Access. Choose detailed installation options. I think we'll just, we'll just go with install now. Yeah, alright. So this shouldn't be really that interesting. It's just going to do a lot of reading from the CD. CPU usage, I brought up Task Manager here, is probably going to be pretty high during the entire thing. What I'm going to do is, since I really need to, what I'm going to do when this all finishes is I'm going to try and get the 1 gigahertz copper mine out of my GX150, which I'm going to be doing a video on as well, and seeing if that works in there. Because if that works in there, then I might be able to upgrade the CPUs, but from what things are suggesting online, I probably won't actually be able to upgrade that, but yeah, we'll test it anyway. It's not a problem. Okay, so while the XG836 installs SP4 over there, I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out the CPU in this. Also it finished installing Office XP, but but I want to get the CPU out of this. I'm pretty sure this is a 1 gigahertz copper mine, and it should be PGA 370. So I want to test and see that this one will work in there. So yeah, this is PGA 370, and here's the copper mine CPU. Should be copper mine. You can see 1000 megahertz, probably 256 KB of cache, 133 megahertz front side bus, 1.75 volts. So the only thing we'll need to check and make sure is the same as the 1.75 volts, but that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, anyway, we will check that all out in time. Alright, so it's the next morning, and we're going to finally test out the Pentium 3 CPU in this puppy. I can probably leave most everything plugged in. All I need to do is remove the motherboard tray, unplug the power, and it should be good to go at that point. We'll be able to swap out the CPU. The only thing is that the 1 gigahertz copper mine's going to run a little hotter than the 733 megahertz Celeron. So we're probably going to wind up having to find a different heatsink. All we need to do is get a screwdriver. I don't actually know where my cute little flathead went, so we're going to use this one. There, that came off nice and easy. Alright, so we'll just have that hang down there while we remove the chip. What we'll just make sure on the Celeron is that we're 1.7 volts. So yeah, you can see sort of 1.7 volts. So this new chip is 1.75 volts, but I think that should be close enough. Now I just got to line the chip up, and we'll get it in there. And it slid right in. So now all we got to do is put the heatsink back on, and then we should be good for a little bit of a test. This probably won't stay a permanent arrangement, mostly because I need that CPU for the other computer. But there we go. Got the heatsink back on. Now all we gotta do is plug this back in, because I'm not gonna put it back together to test. So, where's power cables? Right here. So here we go. And the monitor came on. Yeah, she's booting right away, so this clearly supports a 1 gigahertz copper mine. Yep, we're going into Windows XP. So, definitely one of the upgrades I can do to this is get probably the best copper mine chip there is. I don't know if that's it or not, but that's what we'll do. We'll get the best copper mine chip available. I'm not too worried about power in this thing. It's got almost nothing in it. I may find a replacement power supply at some point, but it's got to be pretty specific. Boy, am I having trouble removing that or what? There we are. Die barely even got hot, so I'll just need to look up the model number of this, see what generation it's from, and then replace it. But otherwise, just put that previous CPU back in, lock it down. There we go. Alright, so there we go. I think that's going to be about it for now, until I get some upgrades for this thing. So maybe there'll be a part 2 at some point. See you guys then.